Carolyn, again. I know that when I started this series of videos yesterday, I said that I might be making maybe one a month, maybe a little more. Certainly one a day is not what I had in mind. But I enjoyed it, and I had some things on my mind today that I kind of felt like talking about, so I decided, it's good. I feel like it's good for me to talk about this stuff sometimes, so why not just go ahead and make another video right away. One reason that I think doing videos like this is good for me is that it gives me an opportunity to kind of practice my voice. I know that sounds probably strange if you know sort of what I do for a living and things like that, but I feel like I still need to practice and to continue working on my voice. There's a lot of transgender women on YouTube who have voices that I think sound like so natural, and I do some exercises, and I feel like I'm getting closer, but that I'm not quite there yet, and that just kind of sitting down in front of a camera and talking like this for a little while is a good opportunity for me to just kind of continue practicing and working on my voice. So I do some voiceovers of videos at my job, and of stuff that I've written. So that's why I'm the person reading it. But it's not unusual for people to to kind of make fun of my voice and say that I sound like Mandark, who Dexter's Lab was kind of after my time. It's not a show that I grew up watching or anything, but so the reference doesn't really mean a great deal to me, but I find it funny. But I'm not continuing to work on my voice because of those people at all. Like, I laugh at that. I find that just amusing. I don't care. It's not about making anyone else happy or anything like that. It's about making myself. It's getting to the point that I'm satisfied with it. So that's one of the things that doing these videos I think is good for. Today I dealt with something that I kind of been putting off for a while, which is that I did my passport renewal application, which is because I had a passport, or previously from many years ago, and it expired not too long ago. And obviously, at some point, I'm going to need my passport again, both for probably traveling for transgender-related issues, as well as for work. But it was just this kind of stupid little thing that doesn't take much time at all, but that I'd kind of been putting off for a little while. And so today I just tackled that. And, of course, it didn't take long, and there was no reason why I shouldn't have done it just weeks ago. But anyway, it feels good to just have kind of checked that off the list and be able to move on from that. One thing that has kind of been on my mind today, and just that I wanted to talk about a little bit, is my own sort of ambivalence, I guess, about, I don't know if ambivalence is the right word, but sort of my own conflicted nature with regard to identifying as trans. And I mean, I don't shirk off that label at all. I mean, I obviously am trans, and I'm not ashamed of it in any way, and I'm very proud, actually, of the way that I've handled a lot of issues related to my being trans. But I guess, part of what I mean when I say like conflictedness or ambivalence or what have you is, it's not exactly something that I totally embrace as like a defining characteristic of who I am as a person. It's more like, to me, it's something that I see largely as a kind of like an error in terms of the circumstances of my birth, and so it's something that in a lot of ways I'm talking a lot with my hands, but my hands are not in the image. So anyway, so no, that doesn't feel right. Just trust that I'm making gestures down here that would make what I'm saying so much more clear if only you could see them. But so, I'm trying to minimize the impact of the being T has had on my life. I mean, once upon a time, I sort of envisioned going stealth, which would be like you transition and you kind of move maybe to a new area, or you just start a new job, and while I would maintain contact with my close friends and things like that, with the people who knew that I was trans from earlier in my life, I'd largely try to kind of create a new life in which people didn't know that I was trans. And if you told me, 5 years ago that I would eventually be like publicly out and trans, I would have told you that you were crazy, that I was, because I just was cowardly. And I mean, that idea just kind of, it struck fear into my heart. Like, I just could not imagine that I would ever be the kind of person who would do something like that. And now, here's my life, and I'm very public and out, and I can't really imagine my life being any other way. I'm much happier now being out and identifying as myself than I would be if I were continuing to be in the closet, I guess. But it's just, I don't feel like being transgender is a reality of my life, but it's not. And it's something that I'm not at all. As I said, I'm proud of a lot of things related to the fact that I'm trans, but at the same time, it's also something that I feel has kind of cost me a great deal, and that I still, my whole goal in life is to kind of strive to minimize its impact, going forward. Like, and I don't want it to be a thing that stands between me and connecting with people. Like, I have trans friends, but I also have a lot of like cisgender friends, and I don't want my being trans like to be this sort of experience that in any way kind of prevents us from connecting. I don't want it to be seen that way, as this kind of thing that makes me different in any like really meaningful or significant way. So, but at the same time, it's not something that I want to deny or minimize, because it's an undeniable reality of my existence, and it's an often painful one. I feel like I'll walk, when I walk past a restaurant and I look inside and I see couples sharing a glass of wine and a conversation, and just doing normal things. I feel like, and that's just, one example of millions. I feel like, so for instance, in that situation, like any single person might feel, a little envious, a little jealous, a little sad, or what have you. But, for me, there's this kind of, and again, it's very important, again, that I state that everything that I talk about here with regard to my emotions, my perceptions of, my experience being trans, is just that. It's my experience, and it's not in any way speaking for or to or about anyone else's experiences. Every trans person's experiences are different. But, so for me, I might see that and have that kind of single person experience of, oh, I wish that I were in a relationship and I had somebody to go to the restaurant with and have a glass of wine and just connect with, and have a conversation, and entertain the possibility of romance and so on and so forth. But there's also that kind of deeper twist of the knife of that's kind of an experience that as a woman, that I've never really had, and that has not really been available to me. It's something that it's kind of, I feel like there's this constant balance that needs to be sort of maintained between, like, dwelling on those things is pointless, and just you can spend so much energy just focusing on the things that you don't have and the ways in which your life isn't what you want it to be, and that's completely unproductive, and that's not good at all. But at the same time, denying the grief about those things that life has not, those aspects of life that being transgender has kind of prevented you from experiencing is not healthy either. You know, so it's like I feel like I have to open my heart and I have to kind of grieve and I have to let myself be sad about the things that I haven't experienced and still to this day don't experience, and you know, the things that I will never experience, you know, being in high school and having, you know, female friends as as a girl, like forming those kinds of bonds, things like that. I mean, um, you know, that those are legitimate sorrows, and it's okay, I think, to kind of acknowledge that, and to grieve for that. But again, to kind of focus on the future, focus on the now and the future, and to you know, to live the best life that you can with the cards that you've been dealt. You know, the pain is sort of, it's always there. It's some days are worse than others. And, you know, sometimes it's just the knife constantly being twisted in the chest, and, you know, other days are easier. And, you know, I mean, connecting with other people really helps, you know, and that's part of why I don't want to be defined as a person by my being transgender, because I don't think that it's something that should kind of put me in any kind of box or limit like who I can connect with and relate to as fellow human beings in this crazy world. Um, yeah. So anyway, I just felt like rambling as usual, I guess, and getting some of that off my chest. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions for me, you know, feel free to post questions in the comments, and if they're civil and you know, respectful and everything, I may address them in a future installment. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye.